Michelle, for having me on your show. I'm looking really excited about sharing about
Good.
myself and hometown missions.
Good, yeah. Well, we're going to talk a lot about hometown missions, but we always want to kind of get a background for you and where you grew up and how you ended up in Dripping Springs. So where did you grow up?
So I've spent most of my life in Austin, Texas. I wasn't born here, but I've lived in the Austin area for over 40 years now.
Really?
Yeah. I was born in a little place called Picayune, Mississippi.
Picayune, Mississippi?
I think I've heard of that.
It's right across the Lake Pontchartrain from New Orleans.
Okay.
My Picayune is my favorite dish at Water Street Oyster Bar.
Oh, see, maybe that's where I heard it from.
Yeah,
Picayune.
maybe. Picayune.
I mean, it's a funny thing, but Picayune means, I looked it up in the dictionary, it means unimportant.
Oh,
And
does it really?
It does.
It sounds like it should be in that Johnny Cash song, I've Been Everywhere.
Yeah.
I've been to Picayune.
Yeah.
When you ask me a question next time, Steve, I'm just going to go Picayune.
Picayune.
Means not important.
That is Picayune. Yeah. So you were born there, and
Yep.
at what age did you leave?
Probably like 2 or 3. My
Okay.
dad was in the Air Force.
Okay.
He's a Vietnam vet, and so we went to San Antonio, and from there to Oklahoma, and from Oklahoma back to Austin, and pretty much I had one brief year where I lived in on a Christmas tree farm in the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, that sounds
that's
fun.
neat.
So, and then came back here and graduated Austin High, attended UT. Started my family here, started
Yeah.
working here, and I just and for over 20 years I worked in Austin, and then we moved out here probably 24 years ago now.
Out here to Drip?
to Belterra.
Oh.
Yeah,
You're still in that house that you bought. That must have been one of the first houses that
we
got
are
built.
OG Belterra.
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
are. It
So
was
we've
just
been
that
there
one little section,
We're
right?
right there, and
Yeah.
we are still there. Yes.
Wow.
We built that house, and we are still there. Our kids are out on their own, but we're still there, and it's just been a real blessing to stay and live in the Belterra community. I love it.
It's
So,
nice being in a house that you really love, that you want to stay in. That's Holly and I were having a conversation. My wife Holly and I were having a conversation over the weekend about if somebody ever came and knocked on our door and said, "We want to buy your house. How much is it?" And I said, "Oh, $1.5 million." And she said, $9 million. I don't want to move. I'm like, okay. It is nice, but it's nice though, being someplace you're comfortable.
Absolutely, and I mean we have no plans to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean we're here, and the real difference, I guess, in the last few years is the fact that all those years I would drive into Austin for work. Well, now I drive into Dripping.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
I know. I live down the street from you in High Point, and it is nice. Like my commute sometimes is 12 minutes. Well, outside of school. When
Yeah.
school starts, it's a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit
Depends on what
different.
schools do.
But it's
Everybody's commute changes. when
Yeah,
school
totally.
starts.
But there's something magical about being here in Dripping Springs,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So you were in the banking industry. I read something like for 27 years. So you worked downtown. What was your degree in?
So I never actually completed a degree. I
Uh-huh.
do have certifications in technology. I started out in banking very early on. I started out as a proof deliverer, interoffice mail, and there I worked into customer service and then banking. And then after a while, I decided I wanted to go into technology. So I started going back to school at night, and I was told that I would get more out of on-job training and getting certifications and actually going back and getting a degree.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And so I did that, and I worked in technology for a large global financial corporation in the Central Texas area for 20-something years, 27 years all combined. And but even after a while, that just didn't want to do that anymore. Kind of the world changed a little bit after COVID, and I was still going into the office. Everybody else was at home.
Oh, so everybody needs
yeah.
especially you were probably the most essential.
I was an essential
Employee
worker. I
there.
had letters that I had to carry around with me when I went downtown to help advisors downtown, And I actually got stopped one day by the police because nobody was out on the streets, and they were just asking me, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
Yeah, you look really shady, Chris.
So they
my
stopped.
little tool bag.
So they stopped you and said, "Show us your papers."
Yep.
Oh yeah, boy, that's kind
Well,
of.
he's carrying his old tool bag,
Dystopian.
going in and out of banks.
Yeah.
That doesn't look sketchy at all.
That's true.
I mean, it really was. It was a ghost town down
Yeah.
there. But that long story short, it's just, I was an essential worker, so I was the only one in the office, and which was fine. But I'm a people person, and I missed that. And the company learned some things from that. That hey, the IT guys can actually just stay in a closet and support people remotely, which they can.
Yeah.
And I did that, but it wasn't the same to me.
No.
I needed to engage and to talk to people, and I enjoyed helping people at the company. I really did, but not through the computer or not over the phone. I really enjoyed it doing it in person. And so I would just reached a point where I was I share this story with folks that I was having an argument with myself in the shower one morning about my frustrations with work, and my wife came in and says, "Who are you talking to?" Because she could hear me out in the living room, and I'm just kind of like, I think it's time for a change.
Yeah.
Something.
If you're arguing with yourself out loud, then it's probably time for a change.
I was listening to a podcast in the shower this morning, and Todd opens the door and he goes, "I heard a man's voice in the
Oh.
shower." I was like, "It's just a podcast." It literally was in the shower. So yeah, you're talking to yourself. I had a strange man in
Why
the
is
shower.
the window open, Michelle? Chris, if you don't mind me asking, so you said you went to UT?
I did attend UT. I never graduated.
Okay,
UT,
but so why did you get in and then not finish?
I honestly, back then in my youth, I didn't have the discipline, and I had a good time in my early 20s, and
Don't we all?
I still worked. I worked
Yeah.
a full-time job. I had some great friends who I was a roommate with, and we had a three-story, 7-bedroom house on West Campus. So, yeah, and then
That sounds like a party house. Does that
it
sound
was
right?
not a fraternity, but we had a really good time.
Yeah.
A jolly good time was had
Yeah.
by all. So if you had to do it all over again,
Mhm.
would you have gone into trade school, or do you think you would have gone the 4-year?
Probably, yeah. I think if I had to do it all over again, I would probably would have gone to trade school. But at the same time, I have no regrets about any of my decisions
No.
back then. I'm happy with where I am professionally and career-wise. Don't get me wrong. I mean, moving from a really well-paying, skilled job that I had with Wells Fargo, and then going into the nonprofit, that took a family meeting.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'll
they-
bet. I'll bet.
My wife's an accountant, and she had to go, well, let's look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
And I got the family's blessing. Both of our kids graduated college, and so I'm extremely proud of them for that. But I just didn't want to put any kind of burden on the family by making this change to a nonprofit. That does pay me, but I don't get paid as much as I used to.
But
back
your mental health sometimes is so worth more than what a paycheck can bring. And when you come
Absolutely.
home, you put your head on your pillow and you're like, I did a good job today.
Absolutely.
And we weren't in a closet.
Yeah, and I wasn't in a closet with no windows. Where I
And
literally did.
now you're interacting with so many people every day.
I love that I get to interact with the community and the people that we serve, business leaders, other nonprofits. It's so much more fulfilling and rewarding. And yeah, I just love where things are for me.
Yeah.
Professionally and personally, and for my family too.
Yeah. I want to talk about how you first got connected to Hometown Missions, which is our good friend Chuck Lamond, who has, I was telling a story before we started recording, has probably connected more people in this town than just about anybody else. He's real good at talking people into volunteering for things they didn't even know they wanted
He's
to
like
do.
Dripping Springs' own matchmaker. He's
I
like
swear
a
he is, yes.
Chuck's dating
Yeah,
service
he
for
is.
for
So,
anything
You
nonprofit.
tell that story. You were at a dinner party?
Yeah, so my wife and I were invited to an anniversary dinner party. It was just after COVID, so we were kind of coming out of our homes and interacting with each other like normal people and going to social things. And my wife was sitting next to me, and Chuck was sitting next to my wife, and he was talking to her about the need. Hometown Missions had grown to where they needed a full-time employee, an operations manager. I had already left, Wells Fargo. I said I need to go, and I'm just going to So for the first time in my adult life, I was unemployed. And it was a leap of faith, absolutely.
And how long? What was the time period?
Honestly, I think it was probably less than 2 months.
Oh wow!
And the organization. So anyway, I'll get back to that. But I was just, Chuck is talking about this need, and I very rudely reached across and extended my hand and introduced myself and said, "Hi, Chuck. My name's Chris. I'm looking for a job." And I was serious, but at the same time, I'm like, I knew nothing about hometown missions other than what Chuck explained right then and there to my wife, which, and so I went online and looked up the organization, and I started looking at some of the faces that I saw in the picture that you even have up in the studio on our main page, and I started recognizing people from my early 20s that I knew, Dave Edwards, Glenn, I recognized, Chuck, of course, and I started recognizing people I knew in the community, and I'm kind of like, well, wait a minute, this might actually be something that I might be interested in.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about running a nonprofit, but I banked on my ability to adapt and to learn, and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And there you go.
And then they hired you.
And 3.5 years later, I'm still here.
Has it been that long?
3.5 years.
Dang. Feels
Wow.
like you just started.
Yeah.
But you know what? Michelle and I were sitting here the other day going, the world shut down from COVID 5.5 years ago. 5.5 years ago.
That's called amnesia times,
Yeah.
Steve, where
How the heck did time go
we
by
were just
so fast?
such living in an amnesia state. So what is your version of what Hometown Missions does? And the other part of that question is, why do you think you hadn't heard about it at that moment? You had lived in Dripping Springs for 20 years or whatever.
Well, I think I had heard about it very briefly before this dinner party, because the mutual friend who's the party that we were at for had posted some stuff online on his Facebook page, and it was really like some photos of them building the first home in a month in 2021. And he's out there super early in the morning. He's taking black and white shots, and it's just kind of, what's going on at 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
And and it's just kind of like, and they were building a home for the Acosta family, and that was kind of like my first, okay, that's kind of cool, those are kind of nice, but I just moved on. I was still employed at the other place at that point, but that's my first little inkling of hearing about it, but it didn't register. And so but my understanding of the organization is that they seek to help neighbors in need in the Dripping Springs community with safe and healthy housing. And that's home repairs, home maintenance, ADA access, inside and outside, and the culmination, or biggest project to date, is the Home in a Month project, and so that's what I understood it to be at the time when I was looking at the photos and considering a job opportunity with the organization.
Yeah. I was at the very first sort of conceptual meeting that was, I don't know what it was, 15 years ago. It was at the Methodist Church.
Yep.
And they had invited, I don't know, 20 community leaders, and Chuck was kind of spearheading that. I can't remember who else was there.
I know some of the folks that were there, and as it's told, as I was told about that, it was a dark, stormy night.
Mm-hmm. It
right.
was, yeah, it was.
Set the scene, Chris. It was a dark, stormy night.
But it was the idea was great. There were some of those people, including me, didn't get involved in what it eventually became. But it's a great idea,
Mm-hmm.
and it's funny to me that we live in such an affluent community. Well, the average home price here now, I haven't looked at in the last couple of weeks, but it's like $875,000 is the average home price in Dripping Springs, and yet we still have people that live in houses that most people would consider uninhabitable.
And they don't, I guess the majority of, especially newer Dripping Springers, don't understand that there is such a huge population of underserved that are here. And so I mean, tell us about the people that you've come across.
So in 3.5 years, I didn't know that a lot of the folks that we serve lived in Dripping Springs. A lot of that was because I was working in Austin most of the time, and when I came into Dripping Springs, it was with my kids doing events, football games, band, etc. In the community. So I had no idea, but coming to understand that no, these are neighbors who have been here generations, and in homes that are just falling apart. They work or they're retired and they're on very fixed incomes and they work. I explain this a lot when I talk to especially the business community, that a lot of the families that we serve, yeah, they work. They're the working poor. They work. They clean our homes. They work on our restaurants. They work in our shops.
In the schools.
In the school district especially, and they've been here since the 70s or longer, and a lot of them, especially a lot of them that we serve, are in mobile homes. And mobile homes aren't meant to go 50 years. They're just not. And they don't have the means or the community that can help them fix that house or replace that house. And so that's kind of where Hometown Missions was born.
Yeah.
Was a mobile home that nobody should be living in. And it was a call out to go fix a frozen pipe. And that's where it started.
Chuck was called out to that, because he's told me that story. He was called out to do that, and he knocked on the door. They let him in, and they pointed to the pipe, and he walked around the house, and there was a hole in the floor. And he said, he talked about, well, we could put a piece of plywood on there, and then he said, he looked at that woman and said, we're going to get you a new home. Isn't that right?
He said that when Chuck was on the podcast. He said the same thing.
And then he got in the car with his daughter.
He was like, what did I just do?
She said, how'd it go? He goes, I just told that lady we're getting her a new home.
I don't think that most people here in Dripping Springs now know that these people, this town was built on the backs of the people that Hometown Missions are serving.
They have been here. Generationally they've been here, for a very long time. Yes, and they work and live in our community, and they really don't want to move away. That's always an option.
It's their home.
It's their home. Their family and their community is here. Yeah. It's a real. You're right. We are an affluent community, but a lot of these neighbors, they are our neighbors. They're here, hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
You can drive west of town, and those are a little more difficult to spot because they might be back on some property, but it's still their property and they've owned it for generations. Or you can come into the city limits and you can drive anywhere, in the North 40, where families have been there for a long time.
Generations.
And they just reached a point where they just can't do it on their own anymore, and they don't want to leave, they don't want to move, and I think the organization understands that, and I think the community does, at least the community that supports us, and I think that's a lot of folks in Dripping Springs. That's the amazing thing.
What's the biggest challenges you guys have now running Hometown Missions?
I would say the biggest challenges right now are, one, identifying families that need that help. If they're not going to their churches or they're going to other nonprofits, they're still hidden, but they're still there. So getting them and contacting them, that's probably one of the bigger challenges. But I think also just engaging more in the community to come out and to help with some of these bigger projects. The last home that we built in May, that's 200 plus volunteers building that. And that's a lot of work. And so
that was a home in a month.
We've actually this year, we've replaced 3 homes this year. Not just a foundation and frame, but we've also replaced 2 mobile homes. And that's all through volunteers coming out and putting in the sweat equity, the sweat work on it. But it's also donors that contribute to help fundraising and doing that.
Chris, why do you think that there are families that are in need, but they are reluctant to kind of put their name forward? Do you think that maybe it's pride, shame, somebody's going to look at them that they're lesser than? And how do you get over that hump?
It's absolutely that, Michelle. It's pride, it's shame, and just the retreating from the community. Still doing work or doing what they need to do in the community, but just keeping an extremely low profile. But why they? How difficult is it to continue that engagement? I'm gonna take a little pause if that's okay.
Yeah.
Say the question again. Sorry.
Okay, hang on.
I'm so sorry I messed
That's
that up.
okay.
I'm glad you paused for a sec, so I can go back. So I'm going to play her question, and then I'm going to fast forward, so just hang on.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. No.
Chris, why do you think that there are families that are in need, but they are reluctant to kind of put their name forward? Do you think that maybe it's pride, shame, somebody's going to look at them that they're
reluctancy.
lesser than? And how do you get over that hump?
Do you want to start from there?
Yeah, I'll start from
Okay,
there.
so let me cut this real quick.
Sorry about that.
No,
That's
no.
okay. Okay, I'm going to point at you when I'm recording. Are you ready?
Part of that reluctancy, I think, for a lot of these families is also that they know they're going to open their house up to strangers to them. But one of the great things that Hometown Missions does is that we do begin each one of these interviews, if you will, or it's a relationship. It really is. That's the real strength of the organization, is that we begin a relationship with that family or those individuals.
And removing the shame and the stigma that's
Absolutely.
associated with it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's friends helping friends at that point. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And even after we've been able to help them repair something or fix something, we still continue that relationship. We walk with these families and these individuals even past when the project is done. That's just, the project is just symptomatic of maybe usually a lot of times other things going on in their lives. And so if Hometown Missions can engage other resources in the community that maybe can help them with those things, we try to do that. A lot of times it's, they need a driver's license because they don't have one, or they had so many tickets, and we kind of help them walk through the insurance process. There's a lot of things that we engage other partners in the community to help us help that family.
That's
help those
pretty cool.
individuals.
Yeah,
so
you've expanded the services that you offer people. I want to circle back to Home in a Month. Can you just give us an overview of what that's all about?
So Home in a Month is probably our signature community event and project, where we tear down a house that no family or no individual should be living in. It's reached its end of life, as it were. We think about the fact that we get a call a lot of times that something wrong with the bathroom or there's an electrical issue,
Yeah.
and then we walk in and partners of ours that are in do home repairs, or electricians or whatnot, or Chuck, can look at it and kind of go, wait a minute, there's a lot more wrong here than just a leak under the faucet. And so we'll start talking to that family and kind of get a good picture of what's going on. And so it grew from that. The 2021 Home in a Month is literally, they just ran into, they couldn't replace it with a mobile home because it's within the city limits, and they couldn't. So they said, you know what? Let's just build a small house right here and do it in 30 days. And they did.
Yeah.
And it was such a galvanizing project, and that, again, 200 plus volunteers came out, and they worked a lot of weekends, and even sometimes would take days off and do stuff during the weekday. And the trades that are involved, the plumbers, electricians, the roofers, a lot of those folks came out, or they donated stuff in kind.
Yeah.
They just really participated. And so the organization said, we really got something here that we can really serve the community even better. And so, yeah, that's kind of how that project has begun.
On the so the trades and the volunteers is a huge part of that, but there's got to be money. How are you guys raising the money?
Well, I mean, back then, when it was, a few few years ago, before I got on the scene, I guess, they would tell me stories about they would have fundraisers where they would have Super Bowl parties.
Oh yeah.
Which, that's incredible, the fact that they did it that way. But, the organization has grown and developed in 15 years to where now we have a gala fall
Oh, okay.
fall fundraiser. It's an invitation only, but we also bring the families that we serve, and those trades get invited to that so they can just kind of see their community works and get to talk to the families again about their efforts. But fundraising, we partner with a lot of churches in the community, help us with volunteers and funds. Individuals contribute a great deal, which is amazing. And then, we're also working on learning our grant writing game, as it were.
Oh, okay.
So
That's a
grants is-
whole different animal
Are
as
you
well.
kind of spearheading that, trying to figure out how that works?
I am Spirit. That's part of my job.
Looks
yes.
like you're getting another certification there. Huh?
But grant writing is its own industry.
Oh,
it
gosh.
really is, and there's a lot of tools out there, and we have folks that are helping us with that, with their time and their treasure and their talents. So that's great. But yeah, I'm the guy that has all the data and kind of helps tell the story. So yeah, I'm learning how to do grant writing as well.
Okay.
So,
If somebody wants to donate, is there a place on the website?
I did.
yeah, right up at the top of the page, there's donate, and then you can go
Okay.
right there, and you can, go through there. There's we all have to deal with a convenience fee if you want to do it that way, or there's other folks that like to send checks, and they can send that to our PO box here in Dripping Springs. PO
Which
box
is,
8.
go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's on the website
Yeah.
as well, but it's PO Box 867, Dripping Springs, Texas 78620.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
that's
And it's hometownmissions.org.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're talking about the local church involvement, and so it's fundraising and volunteers, but are you really tied in with those churches?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say we are. I mean, we have 8 partner churches
Okay.
that help us with funds, help us with the mission, with volunteers, and also help us identify families that maybe
Okay.
need some help. So they're absolutely tied in with us and partner with us.
Okay.
And that's invaluable to what we can do.
Oh yeah, it's like it's fingers out in the community,
Absolutely.
feeling what's going on about people that need help. But have you had anybody approach you from outside the area that wants to do?
Ultimate goals for the organization is to grow the nonprofit to where maybe it can be replicated in another community. Hometown missions probably wouldn't work well in Austin or San Antonio. There's just too much bureaucracy and
Yes.
too much.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Going
there's
to
a-
the city really works in concert with you guys to help make this happen
yeah.
too.
I mean, it's nice when we can talk to the city about our projects, and they can help us, guide us, and we can talk to them when there's speed bumps, and we got to get through it, and so that we can meet those deadlines that we set to help serve these families. So the city's all on board with us, and we love the fact that they are, and they're absolutely a partner of ours. But there are other communities, Cedar Park, maybe Johnson City, Marble Falls. Yeah, there's other communities where we think it would work. And we were approached about an idea of maybe in Cedar Park. I don't know where that's at right now, but it's just an idea. There's a lot of work that needs to go on
Sure.
for that, but it'd be great.
Yeah.
I hope we can do that. It's one of our long-term goals for sure.
I could see these all across the country.
Yes.
I mean, every small, medium-sized town could have something like
Yes.
this to support the people that live there, parts of the community.
Let's talk about, you have somebody that wants to help out Hometown Missions, and they don't really have the funds themselves, and they're working 50, 60 hours a week as well. So how could, outside of their time and treasures, how could they participate? Do you guys take the misconception that maybe you just take any type of donations
For materials?
or is it materials, or is it furniture, or Walk me through that.
Absolutely. We will accept, especially when we're involved with a big project, we'll take furniture donations, appliances, working appliances like refrigerators, washers, and dryers.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, we accept those because we give those out pretty regularly
Oh.
to families, all through the community, and through other community angels that reach out and ask, hey, Hometown Missions, do you have a fridge? And I can go, yes. So
do you have a warehouse in town? Or
we have a
something?
shipping container now.
Okay.
We're very, very proud of our shipping container. So we can store, we have some small storage capacity
Okay.
now. Furniture, we don't want to become a giant,
Yes.
warehouse full of that stuff. And a lot of times I'll direct people over to the Senior Thrift Center.
Yes, I was
because
going to
that-
ask you about the Senior Thrift Center if they help you guys out too.
Yes, we do. Those are great folks over there, and when we work together on furniture and also needs for some of these families, we can go over and talk about, hey, do you guys have this? And they'll say yes. And so, yeah, there's absolutely cooperation there. And it's the same with other partners, other nonprofits in town as far as needs in those areas. But furniture and appliances are top of the order for things that we can use. Yes.
We are a very philanthropic. Ooh, did you see that? I almost got it, Steve.
You
It was
almost had it. You want
had it, and
you
I
wanna
right at
swing
the
at
end.
it again, Michelle?
Right? No,
Come
I'm
on.
not.
Come on.
Philan-
Take another bite at that
I'm not.
apple, Michelle.
I'm not. We're a very giving community.
Yes.
We're a very giving community.
It's what makes this community so great, Dripping Springs, is that it is an amazingly giving community, and they do. Everyone generally does care about their neighbor, and so, yeah. I mean, there's other communities out there. So we hope, someday to be able to have another Hometown Missions in another community somewhere,
Mhm.
and just grow.
Now, would it be an arm of your organization, or would it be another organization set up? What do you think that looks like in a perfect world?
Perfect world, I think it'd be probably something similar to what Foster Village has. It would
Oh
be,
gosh,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
What a model to look after too.
They're a fantastic model, and they're great people, and we've talked to them about these things, and they've shared their insight and how they went through it, and it was very organic, and that's probably how it's going to work for us too.
What is the most rewarding part of your job, as compared to, let's say, pre-COVID, where you were stuck in a closet?
I really enjoy talking and meeting the families, and just kind of getting to know them, and just figuring out how we can help them. And because that can be complex sometimes. It can be multi-staged, takes multiple visits, but just engaging and learning about them, and just putting your arms around them and saying, hey, we're here for you. I really enjoy that part of it, and I think I always will.
There's a picture in the article, and maybe on the website, of it's in front of this mobile home, and it's Patsy Ward and somebody else sitting there talking with the woman that lives in that house, and it just looks like a couple of people out visiting on the front porch, and that's where this whole thing starts. You got to build a relationship.
It absolutely is. It's the most important part of what we do, is building a relationship before and after.
Yeah.
Because we do walk with them after, and it's people are messy.
Yeah.
We all are.
Aren't we all?
And but that's okay. And you just kind of accept people for who and what they are, and you just want to let them know that they are loved and that we can help them.
When you say walk with them, what does that mean?
That means any trials and tribulations they have in their lives, that they can talk to us.
It isn't like here's your keys,
Yeah.
have a great life.
Not the
No.
hand up.
No.
No, not the handout. Hand up.
Yeah.
Hand up, absolutely. And sometimes that means, maybe through connections that the organization has, maybe it's a better job, pays a little more money, maybe a little more education, so that maybe they can get that better job, or get a, so yeah. And just recognizing that, we're all human and we all go through it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're here to help you figure things out.
Do you do any kind of financial counseling or anything like that?
Yes, that is a big part, especially when we start talking about the Home in a Month project.
Yeah.
When you're talking about replacing somebody's home on their property, they own it, the home and the property, that's going to have a huge tax implication.
I was going to ask how that plays into it.
Well, in the 15 years the organization has been around and they've replaced dozens of homes over the years, not just even before Home of the Month came around. They've never had anybody get taxed out of the property because they couldn't afford the taxes, and that's a lot of that is a financial counseling that goes into place, make sure that there's budgeting, because we don't want that to happen, and it's never happened, and so. Yeah, that's something that we should be, we're very much aware of when we talk with these families and when we make that decision to replace the home. A lot of times, decision to replace the home, that's a year to 2 years before that is actually committed to and done. And a lot of that is financial counseling, resources, and understanding what the impact of that would be on the family. Good and bad, and so not that there's bad with that.
No, but
just
yeah.
want to make sure their financial burden is not. We do not want to burden them anymore.
Sure, but I imagine some of those houses are so old and in such disrepair that the cost to keep them habitable is probably almost as much as it costs them the extra taxes to have a new home where you don't have the upkeep.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know, Steve.
Well, there's a project for you, Chris. We're going to have you back in 6 months, and I expect to have a graph.
A lot of times it comes without saying. A lot of these families are just trying to do the best they can with the resources that they have. I've seen stuff that is, shockingly substandard as far as the repair.
Yeah.
It's something you and I, or all of us, would probably look at. No, we don't. That's not how we.
Well, because once you're down there, right, and you feel like there's no hope and nobody's coming to save you, so why continue? Why repair something? Why fix it up? Why have pride in your home? And you've probably really now instilled. This organization has instilled pride in ownership, pride in home.
It is so nice to revisit after the fact and catch up. And just to look and see, you can see the pride, and just because they keep it up, they take care of it, and not that they didn't before.
Yeah.
It was just beyond what they could do.
Yeah.
What are varying circumstances?
When we first started Dripping Springs Elite Real Estate Professionals, which we've donated a number of times over the years.
Thank you.
Well, of course, but. So
I think that was the first time we met him. We were out at a house. And
but even prior to that, I think it was 2017 we donated, and Patsy was there. We went out, I won't say where it is, but we went out, had the big check, did a photo out in front of this house that was going to be replaced, and I stood there and I looked at the front of the house and I could see daylight, not through a window, through an opening in that house to the other side of the house, and that house was going to be replaced. And I thought, what a blessing for these folks.
And that was a house that was 3 generations living in it.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge impact. And replacing that home and making them more stable, and just being able to have friends come over. The kids bring in invite their friends over for like a birthday party. They wouldn't do that before.
Oh, I'm sure.
So,
I know you have.
Go ahead.
No, I know you probably have a ton of success stories. Do you have one that you're really proud of that you want to share with everybody?
I mean, there's lots of success stories, but I would think probably one of my favorites is a family down the road. Again, generations. It's turned their lives around. It really has, and they were living in a mobile home that was over 50 years old. She came home from the hospital to that, and now they're having to care for their grandchildren, and but the girls have their own space. Their youngest grandson has his own space, and they're just thriving. The young adult who graduated is working at HEB, and it's made a huge impact, and I can see the pride every time I drive past it, and when I catch up with them, that they have in that home. Things are just better.
Yeah.
It's just better for them as a family, but it's also better for them, even with their neighbors.
Sure.
And
sure.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
So yeah, that was a huge deal. It's
Yeah.
that's probably my favorite.
I
right
think
now,
that's
but-
so cool to give that back to somebody, because they had it at some point, and then they just, life kind of beat them down
Yeah.
to where they didn't feel like they could do anything about it. You've given that back to them.
This was such a hot button topic in Dripping Springs, the Gateway Estates update. Do
Yeah.
you have one of those?
Well, I can update that all of the families that were there have since moved and relocated.
Give us a recap on what the whole situation was, because some
So-
people may not know.
So last year, the owner of the Gateway Estates property, the new owner of the Gateway Estates property,
Which was a mobile home park with, what, 20-something?
36 mobile homes,
Yeah.
136 people lived out there. More than half of them were children going to the schools here in Dripping Springs. And it was an affordable place in our community for a lot of folks to live. Some of those mobile homes have been there for 30, 40 years, and were not going to be moved.
Right.
Because I don't think there's anybody that want to put them on
Yeah.
Highway 290. But, so they were given notice that their leases were being terminated and that they needed to move or move their mobile homes off the property. Which, okay, it's the owner's property. Everyone gets that. But the timetable was, 60 days, which is really tough to move 36 mobile homes. That's really hard.
Logistically, that
Yeah.
would be a little hard. Yeah.
So the call went out from people who live there who we've served in that community, asking for help, and so that again that just kind of spoke again to the organization, and we reached out to other nonprofits. Chuck again leading the bandwagon on that, but others on the board as well, and we just tried to figure out solutions for these families, and that involved financial counseling. How can we, get you where you need to be, where you're not, can you afford that? Can you not afford that? And so, yeah, it was complicated. It was hard. That being said, the Dripping Springs community really did rally around these families. I would say probably about 14 or 15 of them are now living west of town out at a new mobile home park out there. Others kind of moved into South Austin or moved where they could based on their finances, what they can manage. And yeah, the community really came together for that. And I will add that the owner of the property,
I was going to say the developer did kind of step up in a way.
absolutely
Okay.
he did. And I commend him for that. I think in private conversations, if he had things to do things differently, he probably would have.
Sure.
But I will give him absolute massive credit. He paid for every move. He paid for every
Really?
for every dumpster. So, yeah,
That's amazing.
he's
Yeah.
That's a community member right there.
Yep.
Instead of just coming in and making your community, the community acclimating to you, he's acclimated into the community.
Correct.
So
That's pretty cool.
that's really neat. So I kind of want to shift gears just a little bit here. You pour out so much of yourself in the time with your wife and even your adult children now and to other people. But we read in your bio that you are also quite the dancer, apparently.
Uh-oh.
And you also play a little bit of baseball, or old man ball is what I call it.
I love
It's
the
called
name of the team.
Yeah.
What's it called? The Young and the Rest of Us?
Yes.
It's pretty funny.
We have the little Y and R on our shirts.
That's
and
like
so
like
everything.
the Young
funny.
and the Restless, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
soap opera.
Oh, yeah.
Get it?
I was I played with the Methodist Church for a while. And we were the covered dishes because you
Yeah.
go to church, you got to have a covered dish.
The covered dishes. That was pretty fun. Yeah, we Todd, my husband, played baseball too with Coach.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
Coach Waite, and I would just sit with the other wives and we would heckle our own husbands like, "You suck," and they'd pull their hamstring. Like somebody
You don't
every
have to
game
put
would
up
pull
with
a
that, do you?
hamstring.
No, I don't.
Oh, that's good.
No, a little bit in the dugout. We
Yeah.
tease each other.
Let me know
Uh,
when your next game
Yeah.
is. I'll show up.
we could when somebody strikes out, it's slow pitch softball. When somebody strikes out, you're buying the beer next week.
That's funny.
Um,
You were. I also saw that you do a backpacking trip. Is that every year?
I try to do it every year with a group of friends, but yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do is to throw in a backpack and disappear out into the mountains for about a week. Carry everything on my back.
You and me both. Michelle, no.
Yeah.
When she says disappear in the mountains, she means that spa at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
That's what she means.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be up there at the spa
Yeah.
looking at, what are those for? Don't they know they could
Yeah.
be up here?
Where's your favorite place to go?
So just last year in the fall, we actually went to New Mexico. We went up in outside of Santa Fe.
Okay.
And we did that. And the year and a half, 2 years before that, we did the Olympic National Forest.
Oh.
We were trying
That's
to go
in Washington.
Washington,
Yeah.
yep. And we did, we probably did close to 30 miles on that one. And that was beautiful and gorgeous. I'm looking forward to next summer. We're going to try to do a 38-mile loop in the Weminuche National Forest outside of Durango in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
Pretty.
So you know that train that runs between Durango and Silverton?
Mhm.
Backpackers can jump on that train. And
Like hobos?
Yeah, in the back and everything. And it makes 2 stops. And backpackers can jump off and hit the trail, and then you can jump back on it and get back
Oh,
into
Steve,
Durango.
that
No
totally
way.
sounds
Yeah.
like something
I
that would
need
be
to
up
get
you
some
and
details
Holly's.
on that.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, and you're surrounded by, like 7, maybe even 8 14ers.
Wow.
And we're going to do a little bit of the Continental Divide
Uh-huh.
and then 2 passes at 10,000 feet.
Wow.
And it goes through this gorgeous area called the Chicago Basin. So I plan all of this stuff for my crew because that's just who I am.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's my getaway time.
So is it like wilderness camping, or do you have like campgrounds you have to get to every night?
It's wilderness.
So you can camp wherever you want.
Correct.
Yeah, I
Wherever
like
you're
that.
tired. I mean, you got to obey the rules in the
Sure,
national
sure,
forest. You
yeah.
can't camp right next to a river or
No,
a stream.
no.
You don't
Yeah.
just happenstance like, oh, look, an Omni.
Yeah.
No, look at that yurt over there.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. That's the kind of camping we like.
Yeah.
Holly and I did. Our listeners know we did went down the Oregon Coast Trail this past summer and had a blast. Had a great time.
I love the Pacific Northwest. That's where we did a lot of family vacations up
Mhm.
there, and backpacking up there. The year we did that, the Olympic National Forest, we were going to go to the Cascades, but they had a little fire break out there, and the
Oh,
ranger
yeah.
was kind of like, "Well, if you want to hike in the smoke," and I'm like, "No, we'll
No.
move that over here."
Yeah.
So
Have you been up in the mountains in Oregon, like Willamette and Mount Hood and that area?
yeah, oh yeah, done
Yeah.
whitewater rafting up there.
Oh,
We've hiked
cool.
up into there, and yeah, that's my dream to maybe someday have a little retirement little home up there to go up there in August.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
100
Huh?
when it's 100
Yeah.
here.
We talked
let me
about that.
let me tell you, I just got back from Portland, Oregon in August. It's still hot.
Yeah.
It
It's still
is.
hot.
That's why you have to go out into the mountains.
Yes.
That's right. Get a little
altitude.
elevation. Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Did you have some rapid fire?
I do. I have a couple of rapid
Okay.
fire questions for you here. Okay, so picture this. It's a Saturday. You have nothing to do. You don't have to mow the yard. You don't have to go to any type of community service event or anything. You're totally free. What are you doing?
In the fall, I'm probably watching college football because I do love college football.
Oh,
but
that UT game was pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous about that. But
I'm
we'll see.
nervous. I'm nervous about our Thanksgiving game. That's
Yeah.
what I'm really
Who are
nervous
they playing
about.
at Thanksgiving?
A&M,
Yeah,
Steve.
Stop! You know I'm
God
gonna
bless.
ask. I don't know.
But I mean, I do enjoy playing board games, and I have a good group of friends that I play board games with. Again, 30 years. So Saturday, unless the wife and I have plans to go out, maybe to go dancing because we're also old goths. We go dancing at the old 70s, 80s.
Oh my
club.
gosh! Wow!
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I
Well,
could tell you stories
I bet
about
you
what my
could.
hair looked back in the day. So.
Well, that's one of my
We
other
expect
questions.
a picture. You need to
Oh
send
yeah,
us a
please
picture.
send me a picture so I can put on there. Who is the better dancer, the wife or you?
I'm going to get in trouble for
No,
that.
just say it's your wife, Chris. Come
No.
on, you and I both know that's
No,
what you're
I-
supposed to say.
I'm the better dancer.
You're
How-
sleeping on the couch.
That's it. You're back in the closet with you,
Yeah.
Chris. The best meal that you like to eat on the job site.
Oh, Florida's breakfast tacos.
Oh, there you go. Good
Oh.
answer. I thought you were.
Yeah.
I was hoping you wouldn't say Taco Bell or something.
No.
Yeah,
No,
Taco
that's a good
Bell.
one. Okay, so my last question is, if Hometown Mission had a mascot besides a tiger, what would it be?
A mascot beside a tiger.
I think maybe it's Chuck dressed as a bear.
I think that would be really, really good. A
Oh,
bear.
Chuck.
I,
I can
actually,
figure-
you won't need to dress him if you can get him to take his shirt off.
That's
Oh
it,
my
he's got
goodness,
it.
that would-
I'm sorry, Chuck. I love you, Chuck, but you know it's true.
You said that, not me.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
I've run with him a lot, so I've seen him without a shirt. Yeah.
Chuck,
There's-
it wasn't me. It was
those,
Steve.
Those clippers won't cut through that. But I just want to have one last question, and then we'll wrap up. What's a typical day Hometown Missions look like for you?
Oh, well, gosh, during the week, there's a lot of office work. I'm working on responding to emails, phone calls, taking care of the books, and then lining up, projects,
Yeah.
kind of reaching out to people families that have reached out to me, planning stuff with the board members. Our board is really active all the way across, and so talking to them and strategizing about long-term goals and working on those. When we're getting ready for our fall fundraiser, so I'm pretty heavily
Sure.
engaged with that. But yeah, just updating the calendar. It's a lot.
I saw on your calendar, it's pretty cool. You actually can go, I don't know where it was, but volunteer. Is it volunteer
I think
on
it
the
was-
website? Project. There's a calendar, and you can actually click on, we'll just click on one and show what it's like.
Okay, so the upcoming one, Saturday, October 4th from 8 to 12, it's going to the James Stewart bathroom flooring install.
So James is we're helping James with several things, but his bathroom flooring in his home it's gone.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
it's just bare, and it's a mobile home that's been in the over there off of Glosson for a long time, and so we're going to put in some new flooring,
Yeah.
and then we took care of a tree. Part of it had already fallen on a corner of the house, so we got great company here in town. Buddy L came and helped us out with the roofing repair, and then we got the tree removed because it's like that tree's just going to fall again
Oh,
the next
yeah.
storm. But it was so close to the house that we were like, I think we need to get some professional help on that. We don't, because if a volunteer were to have something, so we take care of things like that, and we reach out to those partners, and they help us when they can.
Yeah, that's
So,
cool. I know, was it maybe it was earlier this year, Barton Creek AC, you guys worked with Barton Creek
Yep.
AC to with Shorty's widow over in the North 40.
That was
right.
actually last summer in July.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
And
Those guys.
Johnny crawled underneath that house in July and replaced all of the I guess, what do you call it, the ductwork.
The ductwork
Yes.
underneath
Because it had
yeah.
all been ripped to shreds.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bless him, because I'm like, I stuck my head in there and said, I'm not going under there
Yeah.
ever.
And you guys had reached out to a couple of AC companies, and they said that's not we don't
Yeah.
do that. So yeah, kudos to Johnny for stepping up. That's what this town's made of, though. People like him.
Absolutely, and other folks stepped in to help
Yeah.
as well, and it was just because that was hard to do that in July. That was really
Yeah.
hard.
I know Johnny called me and he said, thanks for recommending me for that. As he's stuck underneath
I went over and took pictures of him because we wanted to kind of give him some kudos,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Damn, better you than me." But
Yes,
Well,
for
and we've reached out to Johnny when a neighbor has an HVAC issue. I'll reach out to Johnny and see if he's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
got some time and help.
Yeah.
And he responds.
he's a
so,
great guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's got a good heart. Well, hometownmissions.org is where you go to volunteer, to donate, to find out all things, if you didn't like our little synopsis of what
Yeah.
this is. But thank you so much for joining us today and just really telling us a little bit about the history and your involvement. I'm really glad that you decided to leave the world of IT and come out and help your neighbors. And
I thank you guys so much. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Michelle, for allowing me to come out and talk a little bit about myself, but mostly to talk about Hometown Missions and just you know, what we do as an organization and how it really does involve the community. And, you know, even you guys are important and a part of that. So
Well,
thank
I
you
was
so
going to
much.
say, I want to thank you for coming on and spending your time with us. But if we can help you in any way with the cause, just let us know. Our door's always open. You know
Awesome.
how to get a hold of us.
Thank you
So-
so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
and,
do.
th-
Thank
and
you very
thanks for what you all of you are doing for this community.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Out. Nice.
Cool.
Good
Woohoo!
job, man.
You did great.
You didn't
did
even
great.
hesitate. You were like, boom, boom,
You
boom.
did amazing.
Thank you. Well, it's just, I hope it was just